Day 387 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, y'all, we're back again another day, another LeetCode problem where we're doing daily LeetCode problems. And today we have question number 2255, count prefixes of a given string. The difficulty level is easy, so you already know we're going to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as possible. But before we get started, y'all, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you need any new Apple AirPods, go ahead and check out that link in the description so you can get you some. Now let's see what the question says. You are given a string array words and a string S, where words of I and S comprise only of lowercase English letters. Return the number of strings and words that are a prefix of S. A prefix of a string is a substring that occurs at the beginning of the string. A substring is a contiguous sequence of characters within a string. All right, y'all, so that sounds simple enough, very simple, hence the problem is an easy problem. But let's go ahead and take a look at these examples anyway, just to make sure that we're doing this problem correctly. So in example 1, we have the input words equals an array of strings A, B, C, A, B, B, C, A, B, C, S, and S equals a string A, B, C. The output is 3. Explanation says the strings and words are a prefix of S, which equals A, B, C, R, A, B, and A, B, C. Thus, the number of strings and words which are a prefix of S is 3. So let's go ahead and break this down one step further in case anybody is still confused. So what we want to do is we want to iterate through this array of strings, and we want to see how many strings in this array are a prefix of S, which in this case is ABC. So that means a prefix is a string, a prefix of a string is a substring that occurs at the beginning of the string. A substring is a contiguous sequence of characters within a string. So first, let's look at a prefix. A prefix of a string is a substring that occurs at the beginning of a string. So we want to see which one of these strings or is a prefix here. So as you can see, it's going to start at the beginning of the string, right? Or a substring. So what we want is what we want to look at is first we're going to look at A. A is a prefix of ABC. Why? Because ABC starts with A. Boom. A B is not a prefix of ABC because ABC does not start with B. The second letter is B, and so it skips to A, which means it's not a prefix. Same with C. C is not a prefix of ABC because it's at the end of the string. We want strings, or we want a prefix that's at the beginning of the string, whereas you see AB is a prefix because ABC starts with AB. So we see ABC starts with A, so that's one prefix, right? Because it starts with A. ABC also starts with AB, so AB counts as a prefix. So now we have two prefixes. BC, that's not a prefix because once again, it doesn't start with BC. It ends with BC, but it skips A, so that doesn't count as a prefix. But ABC we can count as a prefix even though it's the whole string because that's how it starts. It starts with ABC, so we can use ABC as long as this is in the same order as it is over here, which it is. So in the end we have three prefixes. We have A, we have AB, and we have ABC. That's 3, so the count is 3, as it says right here, A, AB, and ABC. So let's go ahead and take a look at example 2, where it's a similar question, right? So same principles. So in example 2, we have the input words equals an array of strings. This time we have 2 of the same strings. We have A and A. S equals a string AA. The output is 2. Explanation says both of the strings are prefixes of S. Note that the same string can occur multiple times in words and should be counted each time. So that's important to understand because once we go through this, so we go through words, we see A, S starts with A, right? So that's one prefix. But then we have to come to this A because it says multiple the same string can occur multiple times in words and it should be counted each time. So that means these are two separate A's. Even though they're the same character, they're two separate strings. So we have to count both of the strings. So this string is A, boom. That's a prefix of AA. This string is A. That's also a prefix of AA. And since they're two different strings, even though they're the same character, we're going to count both of them. And in the end, the output will be 2. So I hope that made sense to y'all. And now that we understand the question, let's get into the fun part, the actual solution, y'all. We've been doing a few easy strings the last couple of days. So if you want to go catch up on your strings and strengthen your fundamentals on strings, you could check out the day yesterday and the day before yesterday. We've done 2 easy string problems just to strengthen our fundamentals, because that's going to be important when we move along and we start doing medium strings and harder strings, because you're nothing without the fundamentals, y'all. It's all about the fundamentals. You got to have your fundamentals. You got to understand the basics. We're not going to skip ahead. We're not going to move too fast. We're going to make sure we have a strong foundation to build off of, so that when we learn from these easy strings, these medium and hard strings will be easier for us, because we understand the basics and the fundamentals, and we're able to do these easy problems. So that's why I want to make sure we do some easy problems, easy strings specifically, because we're going to need that knowledge when we continue to do harder and medium strings. So let's get into it. This is real simple. First thing we're going to do, we're going to declare a variable called count, and we're going to set that equal to 0. And this right here is going to store our final output, right? You see our output is 3. This is going to keep count of every time we find a word in words, or a string of words that is a prefix of S. That's where we're going to store the count. Then all we have to do, we come right here, we can say for word. We have to iterate through words, so we're going to say for word in words. That's going to allow us to iterate through words. We're going to say if S dot has prefix, open up the parentheses word. Then all we have to do, first of all, what this means is it's going to check to see if word in words is a prefix of S, right? So if S has the prefix of words, so right, if we're going through looping through words, we come across A, it's going to check to see if if A is a prefix of S, and it is in this case. But then we're going to open up this, and then we'll open up the brackets, and all we have to do is increment count by 1. Say count plus equals 1. And that's going to keep count of how many times we come across a word in words where S has the prefix of that word. Then we could just come right here, and all we have to do is say return count. It's that simple, y'all. That's all the code she wrote. That's all we needed. Let's go ahead and give it a run. Make sure it runs properly before we submit it. And it's accepted, y'all. So let's go ahead and submit it. Make sure it's still accepted after we submit it. Let's see. And look at that, y'all. 0 milliseconds beats 100% of users with Swift. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to see. So with all that, y'all, I hope y'all learned something today, and I hope to see y'all here tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See y'all then.